The Portland rain fell soft and relentless over a crumbling East Side apartment in early spring 2005. A gray curtain that muffled the world outside as Rachel Morgan, a 17-year-old with tired eyes and a stubborn streak, sat on a sagging couch, her newborn daughter Sophie cradled tight against her chest, her hands trembling from exhaustion, her cheap flip-flops damp from a dash through the puddles. The faint hum of a space heater battling the chill that seeped through the thin walls. Her life a tangle of diaper bags and late-night shifts at a diner down the street, the air heavy with the scent of instant coffee and baby powder. She was barely a kid herself, still in faded jeans and a thrift store hoodie, when her husband Tom died that March, a logging truck flipping on a muddy Oregon backroad, the news delivered by a sheriff with a grim nod, leaving her a widow at 17, Sophie just 5, her world shrinking to a one-bedroom rental, and a grief she couldn't outrun. Portland's misty skyline a blurry backdrop to a future she'd have to claw her way toward alone. She poured everything into Sophie, nights spent rocking her through colic, days stitching thrift store dresses for school plays, her voice soft but fierce. "You're my whole heart, kid." Her own dreams shelved, her hands rough from scrubbing dishes, her heart stitched tight around her daughter's every smile, the rain outside a constant drumbeat to their survival. 10 years later, in the damp fall of 2015, Portland's fog hung low over a mechanic's shop off Burnside as Rachel locked eyes with Caleb, a 33-year-old with grease-streaked arms and a quiet laugh, his faded flannel rolled up as he wiped oil from his hands, his pickup parked crooked in the lot, his voice warm. "Need a jump start?" "Battery's toast." When her old hatchback sputtered out after a late shift, Sophie tugging her sleeve, her sneakers scuffing the gravel, her shy grin peeking out at this stranger who didn't push, didn't pry, just fixed the car and offered a coffee from a thermos he kept in the cab. Sparks flew slow but sure. Saturday mornings at the farmer's market, Caleb tossing apples to Sophie, her giggles cutting through the drizzle. Quiet nights at his garage, where Rachel sipped tea while he tinkered, his patience a balm to her scars. His hands steady when he finally asked, "What if we made this real?" His ring a simple steel band pulled from a toolbox. Her yes, a breath in the rain. Sophie clapping. "He's cool, Mom." They married in a backyard ceremony that winter, Portland's evergreens dripping wet around a folding table, draped with a checkered cloth, Rachel in a borrowed sweater dress, Caleb in a clean shirt, Sophie tossing damp flower petals, their vows whispered over the hum of a neighbor's generator, a fragile new family taking root in Oregon's muddy soil. Rachel laid down a rule early. Caleb's dream of kids would wait. "Not till Sophie's 18, she said, her voice firm, her eyes locked on his. "I won't let her feel pushed aside." And he nodded, his hand squeezing hers. "I get it. She's your first." His sacrifice a quiet promise, his love folding around them both. No complaints, no rush, just a steady presence as Sophie grew. Portland's clouds parting just enough to let hope creep in. They built something solid, movie nights with popcorn fights, rainy hikes where Caleb carried Sophie over puddles, her trust in him blooming slow and real. But beneath it all, a shadow lingered. Tom's memory a faint echo Rachel couldn't erase, a past she thought they'd tamed, a question she didn't yet hear. How long can love bend before it breaks? The answer would come years later at Sophie's wedding, when words of love turned to silence, a twist no one saw coming, a crack that would split their world wide open. Hit that subscribe button and ring the bell right now, folks. This Portland story's starting with a mother's grit and a fragile new start. But it's heading into shadows and secrets that'll keep you guessing. America, buckle up for the ride. The Portland fog rolled thick and quiet over a modest Northside bungalow in early 2016, its cedar shingles glistening wet under the streetlights as Rachel Morgan stood at the kitchen sink, her hands wrist-deep in soapy water. The faint clatter of dishes mixing with the hum of a radio playing old country tunes. Her reflection in the window, a blur of tired lines and a soft smile. Her faded apron streaked with flour from a batch of biscuits she'd baked that afternoon, the air warm with the smell of butter and damp wood. Her new life with Caleb taking root in this little house they'd scraped together to rent after their backyard wedding. Portland's drizzle a steady backdrop to a fresh start she hadn't dared dream of a decade ago. Sophie, now 10, sprawled across the living room rug, her sneakers kicked off, her pencil scratching through math homework, her dark ponytail bobbing as she hummed along to the radio, her voice breaking into a giggle when Caleb ambled in from the garage, his flannel sleeves rolled up, his boots thudding soft on the hardwood, his hands still smudged with grease from tinkering on an old motorcycle he swore he'd fix one day, his grin wide. "Hey, kiddo, need a hand with those fractions?" And Sophie's eyes lit up, her nod quick. "Yeah, but don't mess it up." Their laughter weaving through the room, a thread Rachel hadn't heard since Tom's voice faded from their world, a sound she clung to like a lifeline in the gray. They settled into a rhythm, Saturday mornings at the bungalow's rickety kitchen table, Caleb flipping pancakes high enough to splatter batter on the ceiling, Sophie squealing, "You're gonna get us in trouble!" Rachel swatting him with a dish towel, her laugh spilling free, her heart loosening with every sticky bite they shared, the rain tapping the windows like it was keeping time to their joy, Portland's evergreens peeking through the haze outside, as if nodding approval to this patchwork family stitching itself tight. Caleb was steady, nights fixing Sophie's wobbly bike in the driveway, his flashlight bobbing as he muttered about loose chains, his patience endless when she'd crash it again the next day, his voice calm. "We'll get it right, no rush." Weekends hauling them to the Oregon Zoo, Sophie pressed against the penguin glass, her breath fogging it up, his arm around Rachel's shoulders, his whisper warm, "She's a good kid." And Rachel nodded, her chest tight. "She's ours." Her rule still firm, no new kids till Sophie hit 18, Caleb's dream deferred, but his love unwavering, his hands finding hers in the quiet, a promise he'd wait as long as she needed. No complaints, no cracks, just a man who chose them over himself every day. Sophie bloomed, 11, then 12, then 15, her walls plastered with band posters, her voice loud at dinner debating Caleb over the best Star Wars movie, her trust in him growing solid, her shouts, "You're wrong, Han shot first!" met with his mock surrender. "Okay, you win, kid." Rachel watching from the sidelines, her coffee mug warm in her hands, her pride a quiet ache, Tom's parents even softening, their calls from across town laced with thanks. "Caleb's good for her, Rachel." Their approval a balm to a wound she'd carried since 17. Portland's rainy nights wrapping around a home that felt whole. A harmony she thought they earned. They marked milestones. Sophie's first school dance, Caleb tying her shoelaces, 'cause she'd picked boots too big, Rachel snapping blurry photos, her laugh shaky. "You're growing too fast." Middle school graduation, Caleb cheering loudest in a gym packed with folding chairs, his whistle piercing the applause, Sophie's grin wide under her cap, their little trio a fortress against the world, the drizzle outside a gentle curtain to their laughter. But beneath it all, a shadow hovered. Tom's memory, a soft hum in Sophie's eyes when she'd stare too long at his old pocket knife on her dresser, a past Rachel thought they'd folded away, a question she didn't ask. What happens when the music stops? Years later, at Sophie's wedding, that shadow would rise, a silence waiting to break them, a storm brewing in the calm they'd built, Portland's rain whispering secrets they couldn't yet hear. The Portland sun broke rare and golden over a rose-draped venue in Northeast on a warm July evening in 2018, its soft rays filtering through the trellises as Rachel Morgan stood in a folding chair's shadow, her hands smoothing the wrinkles of a navy sundress she'd ironed twice that morning, her dark hair pinned back with a clip Sophie had picked out years ago, her breath catching at the sight of her daughter, 18 now, standing at the altar, her white gown glowing against the greenery, her voice steady as she traded vows with her high school sweetheart, Ethan, a lanky kid with a shy smile and a borrowed tie, the air buzzing with the hum of crickets and the rustle of guests shifting in their seats, the scent of roses and fresh-cut grass mingling with the faint dampness of a city that never fully dried out, even in summer. Caleb sat beside Rachel, his flannel swapped for a crisp button-down, his arm resting easy on her shoulder, his boots polished for once, his low whistle cutting through the quiet. "She's all grown up, huh?" And Rachel nodded, her eyes misty, her whisper tight. Yeah, she is. Her heart swelling with a pride that ached, the years of late-night diner shifts and rainy days folding into this moment. Portland's skyline a hazy silhouette beyond the trees, a witness to a milestone she'd fought to see. Sophie had planned it all, string lights twinkling overhead, a playlist of indie songs crackling through a borrowed speaker, a mismatched crowd of friends and family spilling across the lawn, Tom's parents in the front row, their gray heads bowed in quiet approval, their hands clasped as they watched their granddaughter shine, their nods to Caleb a silent thanks for the man who'd stepped in without stepping over, a harmony Rachel had built brick by brick since that foggy day he'd jumped her car. The night peaked when Sophie grabbed the mic, her heels sinking into the grass, her voice trembling but clear. I want to say something. The crowd hushing fast, her eyes finding Caleb in the dim light, her breath shaky. Caleb, you've been my rock. You didn't try to be my dad, you just were there every time I needed you, and I love you for it. A ripple of gasps and soft claps breaking out, Rachel's hand flying to her mouth, her tears spilling hot, Caleb's jaw tightening as he blinked hard, his voice rough. Love you too, kid. The words landing heavy, a crown on 13 years of patience, of bike fixes and zoo trips, of waiting for Rachel's green light. A moment that felt like the top of a mountain they'd climbed together, Portland's warm breeze carrying it high. Rachel squeezed his hand, her chest tight, her smile wide. She means it, you know. And Caleb nodded, his grin crooked. I know. The reception buzzing after, Sophie twirling with Ethan under the lights, Caleb pulling Rachel onto the dance floor, his steps clumsy but sure, her laugh ringing out as they swayed to some old Johnny Cash tune, Tom's parents joining in, their rare smiles a gift, the night a tapestry of joy stitched with every rainy day they'd weathered, a family sealed in sweat and song, the roses overhead nodding like they'd planned it all along. They lingered late, Sophie tossing her bouquet into a giggling crowd, Caleb sneaking an extra slice of cake for Rachel, her feet bare on the cool grass, her voice soft. We did good, didn't we? And he kissed her forehead. Yeah, we did. The stars peeking through Portland's thin clouds, a rare clear sky capping a day that felt perfect. A peak they'd earned, a memory Rachel tucked close, sure it'd last forever. But shadows waited, Sophie's words a high note that'd soon fall flat, a silence creeping in days later. No calls, no texts, just a void where love had been. A crack splitting wide under the weight of a past Rachel thought they'd buried. Tom's ghost a whisper she hadn't heard till now. Portland's roses wilting slow as the storm rolled in. A twist no one saw coming. A vow broken not by words, but by absence. A family teetering on the edge of what came next. The Portland drizzle fell in a steady, mournful patter against the bungalow's foggy windows in late summer 2018, a gray veil that blurred the world outside as Rachel Morgan sat at the kitchen table, her hands wrapped tight around a chipped mug of chamomile tea, its steam curling faint in the dim light, her dark hair falling loose from a messy bun, her eyes red-rimmed and hollow, her faded cardigan slipping off one shoulder. The faint tick of a wall clock cutting through the silence, the air heavy with the scent of wet earth, and the lavender candle she'd lit to calm her nerves, her mind replaying Sophie's wedding just weeks ago, those glowing vows, that tearful speech, now a memory that stung, Portland's endless rain a mirror to the emptiness swallowing her whole. Caleb paced the living room, his boots scuffing the hardwood, his flannel untucked from a long day at the shop, his voice low. She hasn't called back, has she? And Rachel shook her head, her throat tight. No, nothing. Not since she said she never wanted to see us again. Her words cracking, her fingers tracing the mug's edge. Sophie's last text burned into her brain, a cold blade delivered days after the reception. I'm done. Don't contact me. No explanation, no fight, just a wall where love had stood. A betrayal that gutted her, the bungalow's warmth turning cold, Portland's misty streets a maze she couldn't navigate to find her daughter. They tried, letters sent to Sophie's new apartment downtown, their ink smudged by Rachel's shaky hand. We just want to understand, honey. Phone calls that rang straight to voicemail, Caleb's voice steady but pleading. Kid, talk to us, please. Even a drive to her doorstep, the rain soaking Rachel's jacket as she knocked, her breath fogging in the chill. Sophie's curtains still. No answer. Just the echo of their own footsteps retreating. Tom's parents calling with shrugs. She won't tell us either. She's shut down. Their efforts piling up like leaves in the gutter, swept away by a silence that grew heavier each day. Portland's clouds pressing low, a weight they couldn't shake. Months bled into years, 2019, 2020, 2021. Rachel's hope fraying, her nights spent staring at Sophie's old room, its band posters curling at the edges, her voice soft. Where'd we go wrong, Caleb? Inside. Aye. And he'd pull her close, his arms strong. I don't know, but we've got each other. His patience a rock she leaned on, their life shifting as they welcomed new light. Ella born in 20, a squalling bundle with Sophie's eyes. Max in 21, a giggling tornado tearing through the bungalow, their laughter filling the void. Caleb's dream of fatherhood finally real, his grin wide as he tossed Max high. This is us now. Rachel nodding, her heart split between past and present. Portland's reign a soft curtain to a family remade. Sophie's absence a scar they'd learned to carry. 6 years passed, 2024 loomed. The bungalow's walls now scribbled with Ella's crayons. Max's toy trucks scattered underfoot. Rachel folding laundry on the couch. Her hands steady, but her mind drifting. Sophie a ghost she'd stopped chasing. Tom's pocket knife still on her old dresser. A relic of a bond she'd thought unbreakable, until a text buzzed her phone late one Sunday. An unknown number. She might reach out soon, cryptic, sharp, a jolt that stopped her breath, her tea spilling as she fumbled the mug. Caleb glancing over. What's that? And she whispered, I don't know, but it's her. I feel it. Her pulse racing, a crack splitting the quiet they'd built. Portland's drizzle picking up outside. A rhythm to a wound reopening. A hint of Sophie's return, stirring the ashes of a love she'd buried deep. The past wasn't done. Sophie's silence had carved a canyon. But something shifted. A thread pulling taut. A storm brewing in the distance. Rachel's heart braced for what came next. Portland's gray sky, holding secrets it wouldn't yet spill. Hit that subscribe button and ring the bell, folks. This Portland story's hitting a raw edge, teetering between heartbreak and a flicker of what's coming. America, stick around, it's about to get real. The Portland wind howled low and bitter through the bare trees outside the bungalow on a dreary Sunday afternoon in February 2024. Its gusts rattling the loose panes as Rachel Morgan sat on the living room couch, her legs curled beneath her, her hands fidgeting with the frayed hem of an old quilt, her dark hair escaping a loose ponytail, her eyes fixed on the muted TV, flickering with a cartoon Ella and Max had abandoned, their chatter echoing from the hallway as they raced toy cars, the air thick with the scent of cinnamon from a half-burnt candle on the coffee table, her nerves jagged from that cryptic text a week ago. She might reach out soon. A warning that had kept her sleepless. Portland's gray shroud pressing heavy on a piece she'd fought to build. Caleb lounged in the armchair, his work boots kicked off, his flannel unbuttoned over a faded tee, his voice gruff. You've been quiet all day. What's up? And Rachel sighed, her fingers twisting the quilt. Just a feeling, like something's coming. Her words trailing off, her mind snagging on Sophie's 6-year silence. A void that had hardened into a scar. Her new life with Ella and Max, a balm she'd clung to. Portland's endless drizzle, a rhythm she'd tuned to survival. Then the phone chirped, sharp, unyielding, a number she didn't know flashing on the screen. Rachel's stomach lurching as she grabbed it. Hello? And Sophie's voice broke through, thin and frantic. Mom, I'm alone. I need help. No hello. No pause, just a rush of words about Ethan's betrayal, his affair unraveling their marriage, his boots out the door with some barista, her 2 kids, strangers to Rachel, left in the wreckage, her plea blunt. I need money, I can't do this. And Rachel's blood ran hot, her grip tightening, Caleb sitting up fast. Is that her? Her nod sharp. Yeah, after all this time. the room humming with a tension that snapped like a wire. Portland's wind whistling a tune to a fire reigniting within her. She drew a breath, her voice steady, edged. 6 years, Sophie. You ghosted us. No warning, no why. And now you're here for cash? What happened? And Sophie faltered, her tone cracking. I couldn't handle it. I needed out. A vague dodge, her desperation clawing through. Ethan's gone. My kids need something. You're their grandma. And Rachel's laugh was sharp, bitter. Grandma? I don't know them. You made sure of that. You don't get to guilt me now. Her words slicing, her chest heaving. Caleb's hand hovering near hers, his eyes wide. The bungalow's cozy glow dimming under a rage she couldn't leash. Portland's trees swaying wild outside. A chorus to a clash she'd bottled too long. She pressed on, her voice rising, firm. You thanked Caleb at your wedding, called him your rock, then threw us away. I cried for years, Sophie, while you built a life without us. Now it's my turn. Sophie's whimper cutting through. But I'm scared, Mom. I've got no one. And Rachel shook her head, her resolve steel. You had us. You chose no one. I've got Ella, Max, a family you don't fit in anymore. Don't ask me to fix what you broke. Her tone final, her eyes dry, Sophie's breath hitching. Please, just a little. And Rachel cut her off. No, don't call back. We're done. Her thumb smashing the end button, the phone clattering to the table. Caleb's arm pulling her close, his voice soft. You had to. And she leaned into him, her heart pounding. I know. The silence settling thick, Sophie's kids a distant shadow she wouldn't reach for. Portland's wind howling a farewell to a tie she'd severed clean. The past roared back, 6 years erased, then this, a plea with no regret, a bridge burned she wouldn't rebuild. Rachel's anger a shield for a life she'd reclaimed. The bungalow her stronghold, a choice carved in the quiet that lingered. Portland's gray sky, a witness to a door locked tight, a storm faced and finished, another waiting in the wings. The Portland rain lashed hard against the bungalow's weathered roof on a stormy Tuesday night in March 24-4, its relentless rhythm pounding the shingles as Rachel Morgan sat at the dining table, her hands folded tight over a stack of unpaid bills, her dark hair damp from a dash to the mailbox, her eyes tracing the water streaking down the window pane, her worn sweater stretched thin at the elbows, the faint glow of a single lamp casting long shadows across the room. The air sharp with the smell of wet wool and the earthy tang of a pot of stew simmering on the stove. Her mind still reeling from Sophie's call a month ago, those desperate pleas, that cold refusal, a wound she'd sealed but couldn't unfeel, Portland's tempest a mirror to the chaos swirling inside her. Caleb stood by the counter, his flannel sleeves rolled up, his hands stirring the pot with a wooden spoon, his voice cutting through the storm. You've been staring at nothing for 10 minutes, Rach. Talk to me. And she sighed, her shoulders slumping. It's her, still. I thought I'd let it go. Her words heavy, her chest tight, Sophie's voice echoing in her ears. I'm alone. I need help. A demand she'd shut down, a door she'd locked, the bungalow's walls humming with the weight of a choice she'd made. Portland's rain a chorus to a fight she wasn't sure she'd won. The phone rang again, shrill, unwelcome. Tom's parents' number flashing this time. Rachel's pulse spiking as she answered. Hey, Linda. And her mother-in-law's voice came soft, pleading. Sophie's a mess, Rachel. Ethan's gone for good. She's got those babies. She's still family. Her words a tug at a thread Rachel'd cut, her jaw clenching. She made her choice 6 years ago, Linda. I made mine last month. Her tone firm, her breath steady. Linda's sigh crackling through. I know, but she's hurting. And Rachel shook her head. So was I. I'm done hurting for her. The call ending with a click. Caleb's eyes meeting hers, his nod slow. They'll keep trying. And she shrugged. Let them. The storm outside roaring louder. Portland's trees bending under a truth she wouldn't bend for. She stood, her steps slow, deliberate, crossing to the living room where Ella's crayons littered the rug, Max's toy dinosaur tucked under the couch, her hands brushing a photo of them on the mantel, her voice soft. This is my family now, Caleb. And he followed, his arm slipping around her waist. Always has been. His warmth a shield, their kids the anchor she'd chosen. Sophie's shadow, a faint outline she wouldn't chase. The bungalow's creaks, a testament to a life rebuilt. Portland's rain washing away a guilt she refused to carry. Tom's parents texted later, "She needs you, think about it." And Rachel deleted it, her fingers steady, her heart torn but sure. Sophie's kids a distant hum she'd never know, her anger a wall she'd built high. Caleb's voice breaking the quiet. "You're not wrong, you know. She had her shot." And Rachel nodded. "I gave her everything. She threw it back. I won't let her break this." Her eyes on Ella and Max, asleep down the hall. Their soft breaths, a rhythm she'd fight for. Portland's storm raging on. A witness to a line she'd drawn in the mud. The past pressed close. 6 years of silence. A call that demanded without giving. A family pleading for a bridge she'd burned. Rachel's resolve, a mirror cracked, but standing. The bungalow her sanctuary. A choice echoing in the rain's steady fall. Sophie's hurt, a weight she wouldn't lift. Portland's gray sky, a canvas for a life she'd claimed. A storm weathered. A question lingering just beyond the thunder. Was it enough to let her go? The Portland spring unfurled soft and tentative over the bungalow's backyard in late April 2024. Its pale sunlight filtering through budding maples as Rachel Morgan knelt in the damp grass, her hands wrist-deep in a flower bed, her dark hair tied back with a faded scarf, her jeans streaked with mud. Her breath steady as she pressed tulip bulbs into the soil, the faint buzz of a lawnmower drifting from a neighbor's yard, the air fresh with the scent of wet earth and blooming lilacs. Her eyes catching Ella and Max darting through the sprinklers nearby, their shrieks of laughter cutting through the quiet. Her heart full but shadowed. Sophie's call and the storm that followed, now a month behind her. Portland's gentle rain, a memory she'd turned into strength. Caleb leaned against the porch railing, his flannel unbuttoned over a work-stained tee, his boots crossed at the ankles, his voice warm. "Those tulips gonna make it, you think?" And Rachel glanced up, her smile small. "They'll bloom, just like us." Her words light, her hands brushing dirt as she stood, her gaze lingering on their kids, Ella's wet curls bouncing, Max's muddy knees gleaming, the life they'd built a fortress against the echoes of Sophie's pleas. Portland's spring breeze, a balm to a choice she'd made firm, a piece she'd carved from the wreckage. The phone stayed silent. Tom's parents had stopped calling, their last text. "She's on her own now." A thread Rachel let drop, her fingers steady as she'd swiped it away. Sophie's shadow fading into the hum of Ella's bedtime stories and Max's toy car races. Her resolve a wall she'd painted with new colors, the bungalow's back door creaking as Caleb stepped out. "You're quiet today," and she shrugged. "Just thinking it's over, isn't it?" His arm slipping around her. "Yeah, it is." His nod sure, their kids the heartbeat she'd chosen. Portland's clouds parting slow, a sky she'd claimed as hers. She watched Ella chase a bubble, its shimmer bursting in the sun, her voice high. "Mommy, look!" And Max toddled over, his hands clutching a dandelion, his grin wide. "For you!" Rachel's chest tightening, her laugh soft. "Thanks, buddy." Her hands brushing his hair, her eyes meeting Caleb's, her whisper low. "This is enough." Her heart settling, Sophie's kids a distant ache she'd let go, their faces unknown. Her love for them, a stranger's echo. The flower bed, a promise she'd planted for herself. Portland's spring, a canvas for a family redefined. Tom's pocket knife sat dusty on Sophie's old dresser, untouched, unopened. A relic of a bond she'd mourned and moved past, her voice breaking the quiet. "Was I wrong, Caleb, to shut her out?" And he squeezed her shoulder. "You gave her years. She took 'em and ran. You're not wrong to keep this safe." His words a tether, her nod slow. "I wanted her back once. Not anymore." Her eyes on the tulips, their roots unseen but growing. The bungalow's yard a sanctuary she'd fought for. Portland's gentle hum a song she'd learned to sing alone. The past faded. 6 years of silence. A call that demanded without mending. A family's pleas she'd turned away. Rachel's peace a quilt stitched tight with Ella's hugs and Max's giggles. Sophie a chapter she'd closed. Her life a garden she'd tend without regret. Portland's spring sun a witness to a choice that stood tall. A question answered in the laughter that filled her days. Was it enough? Yes, it was. Hit that subscribe button and ring the bell, folks. This Portland Tales wrapping with a mother's tough love and a quiet victory. America. Stick with us. More real stories are rolling your way.